Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the show. I've got a little secret, not so much a secret, maybe a secret, a story, a truth that I want to share with you. And it's in the title. You're already it. You are already it. You're it. Whatever it is that you're hoping to be, whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever goal you can conjure up and desire, anything that you think is outside of the self is actually attainable, and it is you, and it's already yours. That's a truth. That's a truth. That's a truth that's rooted in a number of places. We could talk about it from different angles, but it's true. It's rooted in that premise that I've been saying for so long about it's all one thing. It's all one thing. Everything that we know on this planet is one thing. All sentient beings arise from one source. All of the stuff on this planet, the molecules, the cells, the atoms, they all circulate on this planet. It's all one thing. Time is all one thing. Time is all one thing. The future is the present. The past is the present. And you are already all of the things, anything that you could hope to be. You're already that. What I find is that we block ourselves. Our mind is a brilliant piece of conscious machinery that is surveying the outside world, trying to assess itself, trying to understand itself, and it does so by comparison. It does so by contrasting against what it views in the outside world. And this life is, the spiritual life in particular, engages with this ability to go on a journey of finding out the truth that it's all one thing, that you already are it. If you're hearing this for the first time, this may seem incredibly ridiculous. You don't know what I'm talking about, but I know many people who are subscribed to my channel are not hearing this for the first time, and they're well aware of the idea of us being all one thing, of it being one thing, not on some hoity-toity, not on some sophistry. We're all one thing, like we're about to sing a song, Kumbaya. Truly, through our language, through our cellular makeup and DNA, through our history, our shared histories, our countries and nation states, races and beliefs, whatever separations I can point to that give us the texture to understand what this world is, that these are narrative constructions, and the truth is, underneath all of that, it's all one thing, and you're already it. But you might not have a story that tells you that. If you were raised the way I was raised, you don't have a story that tells you that you're already it. If you were raised the way I was raised, you were raised with the sense that, no, you got to be careful, you got to be on point, you got to do the right thing, you got to be careful about doing the right thing, you got to make sure you're not doing the wrong thing. You don't operate with an ease and a confidence and a knowing about who you are and what you can do, and that everything works for you, and that I'm already it. I was built on anxiety about, like, get it right, work hard, But I mean, you look out at the world, you look at people, and you have these stories of working hard is not the formula. Working hard is a good thing. I think it's a virtuous thing. It's actually a great skill to have, to be able to work hard. But that's not all that life is. Accumulating money is not all that life is. Working a job isn't all that life is. Your career isn't all that life is. It's like, who am I? The question is, who am I? What are we doing here? We don't ask this question enough. And I think if you can pause and you can pull away from all of the things that pull us one way or the other, these other social requirements and people calling on you to perform a task or to perform a certain identity or be this way or that way, when you pull away, you can actually find the quiet and come to like a place of like what you actually are, what you actually desire. And then you can comport yourself with it. And you can be it. And I've said this before, another thing I grew up is, fake it till you make it as a concept. If you want something, you start by faking until you make it. And I find that to have been helpful to me as a kid, but today, at 42, I have so much more insight into how this thing works, and I can tell you that I can even eliminate that fake it step. I can just be it. I can just make it. I can be it. There's nothing to fake. There's nothing to try. There's no script I have to recite. There's no performance I need to put on. It's one of the biggest problems when you watch online, these influencers, the male influencers who want to teach young boys how to be men. There's always some performance. These guys, some of them go into detail about how you should stand and how you should sit and how you should, pose for pictures and how you should eat. This is what a man looks like and how he walks, and make sure you do this and make sure. That's such inherently flawed, man. The truth is that each of us has a deep intuition about who we are and what we want and what feels good and what feels exciting, and that will evolve over time. We will feel one way in our teens. We will have great lofty dreams in our teens, and even if we hold on to those very same dreams in our 20s, those dreams will evolve, right? If you've pursued them, you'll be in a different place with them. You will have engaged with the dream enough to reach a different plateau and to have it evolve on you. You have to approach it with a new energy and a new motivation. And all the while you are it. You are being it. It is the being of it. It's not about a performance. You want to be you want to be anything. One of the first things we do, I did this when I wanted to be a football player. One of the first things you do, you look at football players, professionals, and the guys who are successful, and you perform what they do. You mimic. You start with a kind of a mimicry. You see how they walk. You see the swag and the energy. You see the way they put their, their equipment and the towels, and some got the visor, and so you want to look a certain way, and then that won't be enough. If you're engaging seriously with the goal of being a football player, you'll have to engage with the being. You'll have to engage with long workouts that what it takes, and running and catching and picking up these skills and getting comfortable with hitting with what football is. You have to be it. And that's true with being an artist. It's true with being an academic, a journalist. It's whatever you know. It's true with being. I'm not a parent, but I imagine it's true with being a parent. You fall in. You're in it, and you have to be it, and you're already it, and you're already it. If there's something, I feel like this world is on a level that is hard to explain. Something that is spiritual. The universe wants us to be at ease and to love and to appreciate what is now, to appreciate what is all around us, what is. Who we are and what is all around us. And if there's something that is not comfortable about the situation, to know that we have it. There's nothing external that is necessary. I don't need to be validated by anybody outside to make a step towards who I want to be, who I know I am, who I know I could be, because it's all one thing. And I'm powerfully driven by that knowledge. I don't have to be counting steps and waiting with bated breath, waiting for someone to validate. I don't have to hit a mark on a certain number of views or likes on a video or something like this. I'm already it. I'm already it. I'm powerful that way. And I know that you are too. But we just aren't taught this. We aren't taught to talk about ourselves this way. I grew up in Brooklyn where, you know what I'm saying, the boys, we primarily would make fun of each other before we would big each other up. The first thing we would be more likely to do is to shut each other down if someone has a big lofty dream that the rest of us couldn't understand, or had some goal that wasn't within our very narrow frameworks that we were told. And I just think what a shame that we were taught some of the things that we were taught about how to be, about what masculinity looked like, and about friendship looked like, even, you know, and then about what life was about. For me, I was taught, it was related to money. Happiness is related to money. You got to get that money. You got to get a job. You got to strike it big somewhere, get into sports, get your $1 million contract if you can. But I'll tell you, it doesn't really matter what your goal is. It doesn't matter if it's sports or any of the things I've mentioned before, any of the professions, or even that. You know, when we have these conversations about who we are. Hold on, let me let this car pass. We have these conversations about who we are, and so often they go right to things related to career and employer and job titles and shit like this. And that's just missing the mark on who we are, you know? That is a sufficient way to talk about oneself in a particular setting, for a particular reason, but it's not who we are. But it's not who we are in total, but you're it. But you're it. I think it's important to talk about that because this is a crazy time. We just had that big, massive national event, the memorial service for Charlie Kirk, and it's opening up a lot of wounds and conversations about Christianity, the way that Christianity shows up across the country. A lot of my black Christian friends are startled by what they see as expressions of Christianity that seems to exclude them, you know. I was having conversations with two friends today who are in this category. These are black men who are Christian. Christianity is very central to their identity. And they were talking about how crazy the world is, and it was like, you know what, I guess we just, you know, there's nothing we can do but to try to pray and protect ourselves, things like this. And it just struck me that I think there's so much more we can do. I think there's so much more we can do and be. And to me, faith is about that. It's actually not just saying I have faith. It's about, you know, the evidence of the faith is manifest in the actions. You know, you look at someone who walks confidently knowing that they are one and with Source. They are one with nature. They are truthful, and their words matter, their perspective matters, their intuition matters, their inner desire matters. Well, that person moves differently. That person moves differently than the person who doesn't seem to know that. The person that has a story of detachment from nature. You know, the story I was told, which is that, you know, there's some separation between myself and source, and that, you know, that really, yeah, like all we have is prayer. All we have is waiting until Jesus comes back. We just finished, wasn't there this rapture kind of day where people really thought that the rapture was happening a couple days ago? To me, that just tells me, like, obviously everybody's still here. There's a thing that is in the world, and then there's the stories we have in our head. There's a truth about how the world works, about the cycles of nature. Everything. Science and physics and chemistry. And then there's the story we have in our heads. And I want to, you know, if life is lifing and things are weird, know that you are it. You're good. You got it. You're the thing. You're who you want to be. Again, not beyond your career. Like, you want to be kinder. You are kind. You have it in you. You want to be more fit. You can be more fit. You can be that. You have to be it. You have to be the person. I find that when I'm being the person, the world shifts around me in a very powerful way. When I set the tone and hold fast in my knowing, in my desire and intuition, the world shifts around me. Not just a knowing and intuition and like knowing to act, but also an acceptance, because this is a dance. This is a cosmic, dramatic dance that requires your confident action from a place of knowing, and it requires your submission and acceptance of what is. The forces that are beyond our awareness, even. Not just our control, but beyond our awareness. Like, to pay attention and to know that you're it, to know that it works out, to know that every challenge is not a challenge, it's not just a bad thing. I grew up around like older men that would have these stories about things that didn't work out one way or the other, and it's like to know that, you know, the way we talk about things is so key. Like, we could be talking about the same thing, but one person talks about it as a challenge that is to be overcome. It is a stumbling block or a necessary thing to get there, to get the privilege of being. And then other people can see that same thing as this like insurmountable problem, a curse, a burden, an unfair burden. Well, if you're the one, if you're already it, nothing is an unfair burden. Everything is only an experience towards it. Everything is just an experience that is setting you up to grow stronger in areas to be the it that you already are. You're already it, you know. I just dropped my mixtape, and I remember 2 years ago when I had no music credits. I was simply somebody who wanted to make music, and man, it occurred to me, like, if I want to have my 5th album, I have to drop the first album. You simply have to. If you want to make your first album, you have to drop your first song. You have to. So do that. Do that thing. Don't don't frame it, whatever difficulty that comes from it, don't frame it as a, look at it as an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity. The world shifts in really brilliantly, unbelievable ways. 5 years ago, 6 years ago when I left CNN, I remember feeling like I'm screaming in the void. I needed people to understand that the mainstream news media does not care to give you truth and reality, that it's got a whole web of interests and money and commerce that's happening on the back end, partnerships and deals that are more pertinent to the stories that you're seeing than what the truth is. I also wanted people to know that there are people like Ben Shapiro out here who are independent voices who are making millions of dollars by creating stories for division and then selling products off of this. I remember I did a little mini documentary on YouTube. I would do some of these videos and talk about it, and I remember thinking, like, how come I can't get people to notice this? But I just continued to talk about it. I continued to be the person that cared about that thing and talked about it, even if no one seemed to even hit like on Facebook when I would write the thing up, or nobody was fucking with the content, right? But then I would look after a couple weeks, after a couple months, after feeling silly sometimes, after feeling really downtrodden about it, but still being, I would see these people would just pop up on my timeline. People would pop up one way or another. I would fall in contact with a person who was doing something similar. You know what I mean? I came from CNN. This person's from the Washington Post. This other person left ABC. This other person started a YouTube page 5 years prior and has been doing its whole thing, and it's right along the same line as what I was doing. And I'm looking, and I remember feeling like a little bit distraught because I felt like I needed to get my YouTube page up, and how come I can't get these numbers? And I would see these people doing it, talking about what I'm talking about, but differently, and they would have their 1,000 views and their 2,000 subscribers. Some of them have 15,000 subscribers, and I remember this at first it'd be a feeling of like, dag, how come they're popping off and I'm not? And then I realized that this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted other people to talk about these exact same things, to be passionate about these same things. And now the world somehow, before I didn't know that these people existed, now I do. And yes, they've already been seeding the ground, and I'm seeding the ground, and we're all seeding the ground for what is to come next. The world is shifting. The world is shifting, and now, 5 years later, all kinds of incredible, interesting, terrible, frightening, horrifying, terrible things have occurred one way or the other, that now media literacy is on the tip of everybody's tongue. Understanding the infrastructure of corporate news is on the tip of everybody's tongue. Now, in the wake of Charlie Kirk, actually, there's a massive conversation about these independent people, these voices, these people who sit on the cusp of like journalism and entertainment and politics and grifting, and who are not breaking any laws. They're exercising their free speech for sure, but doing so in a very specific way that 5 years ago I found no one seemed to be that interested in. And now that conversation is occurring. People are asking these kinds of questions. And I can only say that now, like, I look now and I'm like, I'm someone that I 5 years ago really hoped to be. I mean, I'm living my dream life, like real talk. I wake up and I realize I am that person. I'm it. I have the markers now. I have the external markers that show it. But I look back with incredible excitement and pride, knowing that I've been it, though. Before the markers were there. Before people started fucking with me. Before people saw any good reason to join in that conversation about journalism. Things that was good enough. It's good enough. Yeah, Billy's right. Yes, maybe cable news isn't perfect, but it's good enough, and the money's flowing, and it's all good. Now everything's in a different place, and I'm it, and I've been it, and the beauty is somehow the way the universe works. It's if you pursue things genuinely and with energy, and you commit your mind to it, it sets you up. It produces the challenges and the opportunities that will set you up to be the thing. If only you will see them as such. If only you will meet them. If only you can free yourself of like the prior ways that you thought of yourself and the way you thought of, you know what I'm saying? You thought of the world, and you thought of like how to approach this thing. And if you're it, you don't have to worry, you don't have to stress. Remember I said like it'll be manifest in the belief will be manifest in the action. So the belief of the person who's it is not, you learn to it's a paradoxical thing to talk about, but you dance between the power of taking action and making the world conform and making the world deal with your knowing, and you also learn to accept, because what manifests at the end of the day, even though this is my dream life and it truly is, it also it's different than what I thought. You know, it's not exactly what I thought, and it's also still unfolding. It continues to unfold. So but I rest easy knowing that I got this. I rest easy knowing that I'm so lucky that I've taken so many risks and steps in the past that I know I can be confident about the future. You know, I've never been more equipped than right now. The world has never been more adept to the things that I have to say, more receptive to the things I have to say. There's never been a stronger need for it, from my perspective and my experience and my art and my voice. And I'm it. And the challenge now is nowhere near as challenging as it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago was a real challenge. This now is it really is a matter of like accepting and noticing and coming to peace with that. And I want to challenge you to do the same thing. I think that that's a major key. To know that you're it. You really are. Challenge yourself. Step into things that were boundaries and edges of what's possible. Step into it. Okay? I believe in you. You should believe in yourself. You're it. You got this. Get into it. Let's see here. We got Brown, that fun guy.